top American diplomat on Tuesday said the United States is trying to avert a greater war along the border between Israel and Lebanon.
The situation is serious. We have seen an escalation over the last few weeks. And what President Biden wants to do is to avoid a further escalation to a greater war.
U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein was in Beirut following an escalation in cross-border fire between Israeli forces and Hezbollah militants in Lebanon. Hochstein said he had been dispatched to Lebanon immediately following a brief trip to Israel because the situation was, quote, serious. Iran-backed Hezbollah has been trading fire with Israel in parallel with the Gaza war that broke out on October 7th. Last week, the group fired the largest volley of rockets and drones in the last 8 months after an Israeli strike killed a high-ranking militant commander. Hochstein has something of a track record in the region. In 2022, he helped negotiate the first ever Israel-Lebanese accord on a maritime boundary between the two countries. But Hezbollah says it will not halt attacks on Israel unless there is a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. Hochstein on Tuesday urged the Palestinian militant group Hamas to accept a U.S.-backed proposal for a truce.
A ceasefire in Gaza and/or an alternative diplomatic solution could also bring the conflict across the blue line to an end, creating conditions for displaced Lebanese civilians to go home in the south and for Israeli civilians to go home in their north.
But a ceasefire in Gaza appears remote. The Israeli military on Tuesday released video showing what it says were its forces in Rafah, where it claimed it is trying to root out remaining Hamas brigades and recover hostages. The conflict erupted after Hamas militants stormed into Israel, killing 1,200 and taking more than 250 captives, according to Israeli tallies. Israel's devastating retaliation has killed more than 37,000 people in Gaza, according to Palestinian Health Ministry figures. Earlier this month, Israeli special forces staged a daring rescue that freed 4 hostages who were taken by helicopter back to Israel. Israel's military on Tuesday released this video of one of the pilots in the operation, describing his conversation with the newly freed Shlomi Ziv.
During the flight to the hospital, I looked back and I saw Shlomi looking out of the window. So I asked the crew chief that was beside him if Shlomi wants to get in the cockpit and talk with us. So we let him in, we gave him an earphones, and we had a 10 minutes conversation with an hostage that just released from captivity. Yeah, June 8th, the day of the operation, was my birthday, and I'm positive that it's the best present that I could get.
But for Palestinians in Gaza, no such happy moments. Residents mourned those killed in an Israeli airstrike on a commercial street. Mohammed Dalul is the aunt of one of the dead.
They are merchants. They have nothing to do with anything. They hit them with missiles. There's no safety. There is no safety. They are innocent people. They are honest people. They have nothing to do with anything. They are merchants. They killed merchants. They killed people. They killed children. They killed women. They have mistreated us. God is our suffice and the best disposer of our affairs. I can't say anything more than that.
Funerals were held in the Nuseirat refugee camp on Tuesday after airstrikes there killed 17 people.
Boeing Chief Executive Dave Calhoun endured a tough grilling by U.S. lawmakers on Tuesday. He appeared before a Senate committee to be questioned about safety lapses at the jetmaker. Calhoun began by addressing the 2 fatal crashes of 737 MAX planes that killed 346 people some years ago.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all of our Boeing associates spread throughout the world, past and present, for your losses. They're gut-wrenching. And I apologize for the grief that we have caused.
Lawmakers went on to question him over the mid-air blowout on an Alaska Airlines MAX jet earlier this year, an incident that raised new questions over the firm's quality control. Calhoun said that was down to an isolated manufacturing defect, not a design flaw as in the fatal crashes.
Alaska, very different. That was a manufacturing miss.
Boeing has since delivered a quality improvement plan to regulators, but it has also faced accusations that it sought to suppress whistleblowers who raised new concerns. Calhoun said the firm was working hard to listen to complaints and address any safety issues raised. His answers didn't satisfy the committee chair, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal.
The manufacturing issues, the retaliation against whistleblowers, non-conforming parts, quality inspections skipped, and issues concealed from the FAA, evidence hidden, all have continued. In fact, there is near overwhelming evidence, in my view as a former prosecutor, that prosecution should be pursued.
The US Justice Department found in May that Boeing had failed to honour the terms of a deferred prosecution agreement that followed the fatal crashes. Prosecutors have until early July to inform a federal judge of their next move. Calhoun has pledged to step down as CEO by the end of the year, but was pressed by some lawmakers over why he didn't just go now.
Chinese Premier Li Qiang offered to send over some pandas during a visit to Australia this week. It comes as ties between Australia and China improve after a diplomatic dispute that led to China imposing restrictions on Australian agriculture and mineral exports in 2020. Native to China, pandas have through the years become envoys of friendship. They have also been used to show Chinese anger. So what is panda diplomacy and how does it work? China has been gifting or landing pandas to boost its international image since its founding in 1949. To cement ties with socialist allies, China gifted 2 of the creatures to the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 5 more to North Korea between 1965 and 1980. In 1972, during former US President Richard Nixon's historic visit, Beijing gifted 2 pandas, Ling Ling and Qing Qing, to the United States. It was a sign of normalized China-US relations and marked a pivotal moment for China's foreign policy. Pat Nixon was the former First Lady.
And best of all, for the gift of the pandas, which all children, whatever age, will enjoy, and I include myself in that category.
Since then, other countries, including Japan, France, Britain, and Spain, have also been given pandas. China stopped gifting pandas from 1984 due to their dwindling numbers. It began loaning them to overseas zoos instead, often in pairs for 10 years, with an annual fee up to about $1 million. Keeping pandas can be costly for zoos, but they are seen as draw cards for visitors and help generate income.
They're majestic animals.
It's very adorable. They would be cute.
The pandas typically return home to southwest China after the loan agreement ends. Panda cubs born overseas are no exception. They would be sent home to join a Chinese breeding program. China has a history of using pandas to reward their trading partners. A 2013 Oxford University study said the timing of Chinese lease of pandas to Canada, France and Australia, quote, coincided with uranium deals and contracts with these countries. The panda agreements with other countries, including Singapore, Malaysia and Thailand, also coincided with the signing of free trade agreements. Sometimes pandas are also used to express China's displeasure with a nation. In 2010, China recalled 2 US-born pandas after Beijing warned Washington against a scheduled meeting between then-President Barack Obama and the Dalai Lama. Beijing views the Tibetan spiritual leader as a dangerous separatist. In a recent downturn in bilateral ties, Yaya, on loan to the US for 20 years, was returned in April 2023. Concerns over her health had also fanned nationalist sentiment on China's social media. Animal advocates accused the Memphis Zoo in Tennessee of providing inadequate care to the animal. In November last year, 3 other pandas left, leaving only 4 giant pandas on US soil. That month, Chinese President Xi Jinping then hinted that he was open to sending more pandas to the US after meeting with President Joe Biden in California, a gesture seen as Chinese willingness to improve ties. China's domestic conservation programs have seen the status of pandas improve from endangered to vulnerable. There are currently 728 pandas in zoos and breeding centers around the world.
The Commission has identified 12 member states with deficits that exceed 3% of GDP.
We have analyzed the reasons of the situation and concluded that the deficit criteria is not fulfilled in 7 member states: Belgium, France, Italy, Hungary, Malta, Slovakia, and Poland. This means that for these member states, the Commission will propose decisions establishing the existence of an excessive deficit procedure.
台湾人民热爱和平，与人为善，但和平必须要靠实力，也就是透过备战来达到避战，而达到和平。空口白话不是真和平，靠实力达到了和平，才有保障，才是真正的和平。除了用武力以外，近年来更是在运用非传统的胁迫方式，想要逼台湾就范了。但台湾不会屈服，台湾人民一定会捍卫国家主权，维护民主、自由、宪政的生活方式。
You accept that Boeing was responsible for those crashes and 346
I
deaths?
accept that MCAS and Boeing are responsible for those crashes.
Boeing needs to stop thinking about the next earning call and start thinking about the next generation.
This car can fly for 25 minutes with a maximum speed of around 80 miles per hour. That's according to Chinese EV maker XPeng's affiliate, XPeng Aero HT. The company flew its latest experimental drone car during a short test on Tuesday. It aimed to demonstrate what the future of transportation could look like in China. As people looked on, the two-seater EV, called the Voyager X2, performed a vertical takeoff and landing in the Hebei province. Aero HT said test flights do not involve passengers sitting in the car. A flight engineer at the company said the public response has been really positive.
我们这款飞行器可以自动驾驶，也可以
Our product can operate both autonomously and manually. It is very simple to operate. Even for a beginner, after about an hour of training, you should have a grasp of the basic controls aboard the aircraft. So our autopilot feature requires no manual operation, which eliminates the traditional learning curve associated with conventional aircraft, because a conventional aircraft typically requires extensive hands-on training.
The model is intended for short trips within a city area, and the company says it does not emit any carbon dioxide during flight. As for whether it would be available to buy, Aero HT said the X2 is an iterative product that is not intended for sale to the public.
The S&P 500 and NASDAQ again notched record closes on Tuesday as NVIDIA surged to new heights, overtaking Microsoft to become the world's most valuable company. The Dow ticked up marginally, the S&P 500 gained 0.25%, while the NASDAQ just barely eked out a gain, but still notched its 7th straight record close. Shares of NVIDIA gained 3.5%, lifting its market capitalization to $3.22 trillion, higher than both Microsoft's and Apple's.
It's a bit surprising.
Melissa Brown, managing director of applied research at SimCorp, wonders if the AI chip leader's stunning surge is sustainable.
They certainly are in a business that should have substantial growth And obviously investors are already accounting for that. What my concern would be is whether how long the growth can be sustained, and are the valuations kind of reasonable enough that we wouldn't have to have a huge huge growth or very prolonged growth to really be able to justify buying the stock.
Other chip stocks extended their recent rallies as well, boosting the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index to a record high. Qualcomm gained more than 2%, ARM Holdings climbed more than 8.5%, and Micron Technology added more than 3.5%, hitting a record high. Those gains offset losses in Alphabet and Meta Platforms, which both fell more than 1%. Economic data on Tuesday showed retail sales rose less than expected in May, while another report showed surprisingly strong industrial production and manufacturing output. Markets slightly increased bets on 2 Federal Reserve interest rate cuts this year, according to LSEG's FedWatch, despite policymakers just last week projecting only one.
NVIDIA became the world's most valuable company on Tuesday on an insatiable demand for its high-end processors. The chipmaker dethroned tech heavyweight Microsoft just days after overtaking iPhone maker Apple. NVIDIA stock has surged about 173% so far this year, compared with a rise of about 19% for Microsoft. Demand for NVIDIA's chips is outpacing supply. Tech giants Microsoft, Meta Platforms, and Google owner Alphabet are competing to build out their AI computing capabilities. But NVIDIA commands more than 80% of the market share for AI chips, making it a major winner from surging AI development. The company also recently split its stock 10-for-1, increasing the appeal among individual investors. It took 9 months for the company's market value to expand from $1 trillion to $2 trillion, which it hit in February. It reached $3 trillion in early
Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss were once very close, sharing vacations and celebrating album releases together. However, their friendship soured when Scooter Braun entered the picture, acquiring Swift's copyrights and masters from her first 6 albums. Swift and Kloss's friendship didn't start at a Victoria's Secret fashion show as many think, but rather after Swift joked about wanting to bake cookies with Kloss during a Vogue interview in 2012. Kloss responded to Swift after reading the cover story, sparking their friendship. Their social media interaction led to real-life hangouts, where they discovered shared interests and enjoyed spending time together. From beach trips to visits to Big Bear, all documented on social media. The public saw glimpses of their friendship during Swift's performance at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in 2014, where Kloss and other friends like Lily Aldridge joined her on the runway, showcasing their bond. The friendship between Kloss and Swift started showing signs of strain, leading to speculation about its cause. While some attributed it to various reasons, such as a party, their closeness had visibly diminished. Despite Kloss's team confirming their continued friendship, their dynamic had changed noticeably. The rift became clearer when Kloss vacationed with Braun during Swift's feud with him, rather than supporting her former best friend. Kloss and Braun have a long-standing relationship since Braun managed Kloss for a significant part of her career. When Braun acquired Swift's music rights, Kloss found herself in the middle of a conflict. Despite expectations that Kloss would support Swift, rumors suggest she may have tipped off Braun about the availability of Swift's recordings after the Big Machine acquisition. The connection between Kloss, Braun, and Swift's feud deepened with financial ties between Braun's investment group and the Carlyle Group, which received funding from the Kushner companies, owned by Kloss's husband. This connection suggests possible collaboration in the multi-million-dollar purchase of Swift's work. The close relationship among Braun, Kushner, Kloss, and others was evident during a shared vacation amid the Big Machine acquisition, shedding light on why Kloss didn't take sides in the Swift-Braun dispute, leading to the dissolution of her friendship.
About the real reason Tom Cruise hasn't aged? Despite being in his 60s, Tom Cruise maintains a youthful appearance and vitality due to a combination of speculated plastic surgery, a healthy lifestyle, commitment to performing his own stunts, and a disciplined diet and exercise regimen. Tom Cruise's workout routine consists of many different exercises. Cruise uses 3 days of weight training and cardio. It's his job to get active and utilize other forms of fitness on the other 2 days. Now, let's address the rumors. Did Tom Cruise get plastic surgery? surgery? While many have speculated Tom Cruise has had plastic surgery, Cruise denies it. Tom Cruise has faced ongoing accusations of undergoing plastic surgery, particularly highlighted by his inflated and puffy appearance at the 2016 BAFTAs. The only procedures that Tom Cruise confirmed he underwent were whitening and orthodontic procedures to correct his misaligned and discolored teeth during his 20s and beyond, resulting in a significant improvement in his smile. Tom Cruise's youthful appearance is also attributed to his diet, which includes a low-calorie, carbohydrate-restricted regimen aimed at reducing insulin production and potential tissue damage associated with aging. The actor's mindset is apparently a big factor as well. I don't invalidate it when I can't do something. I say, that's interesting, and go with it. It's from there you get your energy. Clinical psychologist Dr. Abigail San highlights Tom Cruise's proactive approach to failure as a key factor in maintaining his motivation and confidence, which contributes to his strong work ethic and charismatic persona. Tom Cruise stays youthful and maintains his action star physique through a diverse and active workout routine that includes sea kayaking, caving, fencing, treadmill workouts, weight training, rock climbing, hiking, and jogging. Sports scientist Anne Elliott emphasizes that incorporating a variety of physical activities like cardio, strength training, fencing, and climbing, as Tom Cruise does, is key to maintaining energy, youthfulness, flexibility, and balance, which can help defy signs of aging. All things combined, there is no question Tom Cruise has all corners covered to stay young and healthy.
Our Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, thou art...
It is now my honor to invite the Chief Justice
and devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and all its people. So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Justice.
Your Majesty, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the President-elect has been duly sworn in. The President of the Republic of South Africa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa. The following